Right, this is March 4th, week 9, 2018. Bit of a shocker of a week from a emotional point of view. Last week had the one failed trade on the US dollar Swiss franc just on there. So I was targeting that. You can see on that daily, I was targeting that 94.55 area for a short. And I've still got the fib lines on where I actually entered. So I managed to get in short, but unfortunately we stopped out here on this pin bar. It has since taken down to where I was targeting around that 5 to 1 with my trade, but fortunately entry was a little bit too tight. I probably could have been a bit greedier and either widened the stop a little bit or entered a little bit higher. So that was a bit of a loss on that one. The Aussie US dollar was another, not one that I failed, but one that I was watching earlier in the week, but unfortunately didn't actually put a trade in off that 78.85 level, which was a level I was speaking about in last week's commentary. So unfortunately just sort of fell asleep at the wheel at that one, or didn't actually put a pending trade in on that. So missed that one. It has taken off, so level identification I think is probably good. The other one which really hurt, which I've been talking about a lot over the last probably few weeks, is this Euro Aussie one, where it's sort of been crapped in this sort of range bound area here, and I have mentioned that I wasn't really too keen to get short off this level anymore, just because of that sort of impulsive then corrective stage. So I was looking to get long around that 156 based on that level. I did have a pending trade unfortunately down there about that 156.19. Unfortunately missed the fill by about 5 or 6 pips by the looks of that. So the low of that bar there is about that 126 or 27, so I missed it by about 7 or 8 pips unfortunately. But it has since taken off in the direction I was expected, but unfortunately missed it. So we'll take that on board, and that's probably a look and see on that one. Probably not, unfortunately might have missed the boat. Other pairs for the week, so I'll just tab through all of them briefly. Aussie yen, not really looking too far. I don't really like this level down here. I feel it does need to pull up to back up to value a little bit to get myself interested. Again, the Aussie, I'd consider another short if it rallied back up to that 78 or towards that zone this week. If it wants to retest that level. Not really. I'd possibly consider a long just on the back of that, maybe that pin bar, and if we get a little bit more development through that. That's the weekly chart there. It's a fairly solid weekly support zone, that's 77.20, 28 through there. You see a lot of rejection all through here. So might consider getting a long off there. But there's some better options I think for this week that I'll be looking at. Euro pound, probably not looking. It looks choppy to me this week. I'll be looking for a little bit more direction, unless it moves to the extremes, maybe up to that 89.92. I might look for a short if it gets that far up. Euro US dollar is one that I am possibly looking at a short around sort of current prices early this week. It's sort of definitely broken down. You've clearly got those lower lows there on the daily. It's sort of fallen through just on the 4-hourly chart. It's probably a little bit clearer. So you got that sort of resistance support area through there, and it's sort of come back up. Clear lower lows and lower highs. So I'll be looking to possibly get short towards the top of there with it. Probably put a stop above the top of that range there early this week is probably one of my picks I'll be looking for. Similar with the pound dollar, but probably not too keen to trade that with the euro. I think the euro is a better bet to short against the dollar. Kiwi dollar, similar to the Aussie dollar as well. Probably not going to do too much until it pulls back up to 73.36, and may potentially look to get short back off this sort of level through here. US dollar Canadian. While it's a counter trend trade, I am liking the look of this early this week, particularly if I can get short up around that 129.10 level. So that's it on the daily. It's pretty nice level in my opinion. So if I can get in tight up there, and I'll put my stop up that little bit higher, that little bit of breathing room, probably around that 20-25 pip mark, and then look to try and play that probably back down towards that sort of mid-range. I probably won't target that hole down to that 126.85, but I will probably try and target the midpoint of that, particularly in light of this. You see here on the hourly chart where I'm looking, we do have this large impulsive candle. That's it here on the 15 minute. Yeah. So I'll be looking to. That's another one I do like the look of a lot. So that's the US dollar Swiss franc. Probably not. Again, that was the one with the failed trade, unfortunately. So if it does pull back up to that level where I unfortunately was stopped out last week around that 94.55, I will be a little bit greedier. I'll try and possibly short up towards the top of that, particularly following these sort of large impulsive moves. And we are starting to see that lower lows on the hourly and that sort of large move. So we'll be happy to short up around that level again if it presents. Dollar yen, again, sort of similar to the Aussie yen. Clear downtrend. Not really too happy to take a counter trend trade off the bottom of this. This level has still got the lower lows. I would like to see that pull back up a little bit before I get interested. There's better opportunities out there. Aussie Canadian dollar, so similar to the US dollar and Canadian, sitting at a pretty nice level early this week. So a similar thing. If I can get in there, potentially I'll consider that. What I may do, just because I do like the look of shorting both the Aussie Canadian and the US Canadian. I may take a half position in each pair, just with risk management rather than putting a full trade on for each, because I expect both of them to move fairly similarly. But I might do half risk on each pair. Aussie Kiwi, probably not really too much. It's still down. I'd like to short just with the downtrend nature, but sort of a little bit too cheap for me at the moment. Euro Aussie, unfortunately that was the one I missed, and I've been watching for the last probably a couple of weeks since it's sort of come in here. It's probably spent 2 weeks in here and I'd been watching it, but unfortunately missed the fill by 7 pips, as I said earlier. So that's a bit disheartening, but at least we've got the identification of the trend and sort of working with it a little bit, which gives me a little bit more confidence. Pound Aussie dollar, similar to the euro. Euro Aussie dollar, sorry. Potentially try and get long off that 176 area, but probably not that keen. And gold, just for interest sake, sort of still range bound between those two extremes. So just to recap briefly, my picks for the week is probably the euro dollar short, probably similar to current levels early in the week. And then the short on the US dollar Canadian, which is counter trend, unfortunately, but I really do like the look of that level. I might be talking next week and might be revisiting that opinion, but that's sort of where I'm currently sitting. And same with the Aussie Canadian, sort of still like that level as well. So early this week I'll probably put a pending trade in here on the euro, up that little bit higher, around that 23.40, so maybe another 20 pips above where it is now, once the market opens, to short, and then probably a half position on each of the US dollar Canadian and the Aussie Canadian around current levels. But that's sort of where we're sitting. That's sort of how I see it playing out at the start of this week. So we'll see how that looks. All right, see ya.